Welcome back to A Drop of Happy, where we focus on carefree, stress well, light and lively living while reviewing and discussing all things entertainment and wellness and well being and all the good stuff. And I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about inspiration and I want to talk about Beyoncé Bowl. Yes, inspiration and Beyoncé Bowl. So here's the thing. I have not published in a while because I've been in a personal situation, funk, whatever you want to call it. But I've been inspired. So, and the inspiration made me get off my butt a little bit. The other thing, I'm not going to talk about it today, but it's on my to discuss list, which is chronic pain and how that can be a life interrupter, especially if you forget, especially if you have a good moment where you go a good while and you don't have it, you don't have any pain, or it's manageable, and then you get a moment of exacerbation and it takes you out. That's kind of what happened to me, kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Uh, and we'll talk about it, but not on this call, because on this show, I want to talk about Beyonce Bowl. I mean, there was a football game during Beyonce Bowl. I, Somebody was playing somebody, but I digress. That's not what I want to talk about. It's going to be all over the place because that's kind of it was a lot to take in. But it was on Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Yuletide, whatever you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate, and it's just a horrible commercialized time. Happy spending time with family. Hopefully, you were able to. But this is Christmas Day, and she performed. And if you didn't tell me, if you didn't tell me that it wasn't a Super Bowl performance, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have known. Because for me, I was looking at a Super Bowl performance. So with that being said, Kendrick, who is actually performing at the Super Bowl, I feel like you need to come with it. Am I worried that he's not going to come with it? No, because he's every time I've seen him put on a really good performance for the masses, it's been amazing. So I don't think that'll be an issue, but I hope I'm not disappointed. But let me tell you, like, the bar has been set, friend. If the bar wasn't set before, the fact that this was just a Christmas performance, now, is it going to be the new thing? Is everybody going to want to perform in the halftime show during the Christmas Day super football game? I was about to call it everything but football game. I think so. I think so. I think okay. Let's start. Let's start. Let me just start because I wrote some things down. But again, it is all over the place. I'm going to tell you about my favorite moments. It is all over the place. And then bear with me, stick with me. We are going to talk about inspiration and the importance of inspiration and all that. If I will put the time marker, hopefully, of when I start talking about it, because there is an article that I picked up that's pretty interesting from Harvard. Where is it from? It's from Harvard Business Review. It's a pretty good article, so bear with me. But we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this Beyonce Bowl. One thing I was trying to watch it over, but Netflix was like, I missed my time frame because they only had it till 11:30 for repeat. So I did not get to watch it a second time. So this is just off the first time that we're going to discuss. But there was moments. There were moments. And I think I don't know why they cut it off so fast, but they are coming out with a standalone Beyoncé Bowl special. Netflix knows what it's doing. They've been staying on top of the game because let's be so for real, we've been kind of getting sick of Netflix. I was actually on the verge of contemplating canceling my Netflix, and then they came and did this. Blue Ivy. So Blue Ivy, she looked. First of all, I know she's only 12, and she had to make makeup on for performance or whatever. But why is she so tall? What? Why is she so tall? Even next to her mama. Like I know she got heels on, but the girl is pretty tall. But she was out there performing with her mama. And so there was one point she came out. Well, we thought it looked to me like she came out, but she was actually like I was looking at clips online because I had to get a little bit more fix in before I could watch the special that Netflix seems to be taking a little while to put on there. You already got it, like cut it up, chop, 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 and put it on there. She was there the whole time. She was there the entire time. Which here's the thing, because she's come a long way. She was there the entire time, so she was dancing so well that she blended in. She blended in with the other dancers. So kudos to her. Seems like she's working really hard. And she's only 12. So as she grows and gets older, if she decides to continue on this path, which it does seem like that, she 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 gonna be forced. She gonna be a force to reckon with. She is going to be fierce. Okay, let me just say that. The other thing, Post Malone. First of all, it's not gonna be all. I'm sure it's the tattoos on the face. Um, but he be looking like a dirty old man. I'm sorry. Um, I think even if he didn't have the tattoos on the face, some people that just look dirty. I'm so sorry. That is so rude, but that's beside the point. He was so excited. He was so excited. He was cheesing and grinning from here ear to ear to be performing with Beyonce. Okay, and that was just fun to watch. That I really enjoyed it. Plus, I love that song. I love the Levi Jean songs. I love that song. So it was just I was feeling it. I was here for it. I was here for his excitement. Loved it. Netflix IT. Listen, because let me tell you something. Y'all remember when we was watching the Mike Tyson in the little boy Logan Paul. That or was that the brother? Whatever, the Paul dude. Y'all remember when we was watching that and it was super super glitchy, right? I feel like Beyonce was like, y'all not gonna do me like that. Like in this contract, if I'm gonna do this thing, y'all not gonna do me like that because there was not a glitch. There was not a nothing. The thing was crystal clear. You hear me? Like chef's kiss. They were. I had no issues the entire time watching that halftime show. Maybe, maybe, maybe not enough people. Maybe not as many people were watching it as Homeboy. I'm gonna hold. I'm not gonna make that claim. I really want to wait for the numbers. I want to see what the numbers are. But I feel like Netflix, I feel like she was like, listen, I don't play about my stuff. I'm sensitive about my shit. You are not going to embarrass me in front of company, in front of all these people. You're going to get it right, Netflix. You're going to get it right. Okay? And I feel like they did because when I tell you the clarity in just the smoothness of it all. Yeah, yeah, it okay. I give it up to you. Other thing, I feel like, in one of her songs, she's Beyonce's like, "Don't make me get up out my seat." I feel like this. Don't say what you want, because I'm gonna talk about Shaboozy. You know how he didn't get not an award in the CMAs. They kind of played him, and of course, you know they didn't even recognize old girl, right? I feel like this was her getting up out her seat. She said, "Don't make her get up out her seat." And what did y'all do? What did y'all do? What did y'all? She got up out her seat, and this was it. This was this whole little performance, because everything was so meticulously and purposefully and intently done. So Shaboozy was also there. Okay. And let me say, um, I was introduced to Shaboozy, not that I followed him or anything like that. All I know is that he was on Beyonce's album and he does country music. And he's from Africa? Potentially. But I put two and two together when this song happened to come on my playlist. But it is on my 2018 playlist because he is, let me rewind and tell you what song I'm talking about, okay? Start a Riot. Start a Riot. Uh, that is Shaboozy's song from 2018. From what? The Spider-Man album with Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Verse. And let me tell you, the way I bump, first of all, if you have not heard that album, that whole album is a very good album. 2018, the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, fabulous album. And Start a Riot, like when I needed to get hype. So I did not realize at the time that it was the same person. And I was like, oh, okay, just a random little fact. But he was there. And it was nice. It was nice he was there. Um, that's it. That's really all I have to say about that. Now, this is not in any particular order. This is just me rambling on. And in my ramble, what's going on 7 days after my birthday, which is January 14th, 2025? What is happening? There are two speculations, ideas going on. One, she's going to announce a tour. Two, she's going to announce Carter 3 or drop Carter 3. But I haven't really heard anything. There's been different speculations about the type of album Carter 3 is going to have. Is it going to be is it going to be a metal album? Is it going to be a rap album? What kind of album is it going to be? Or is she announcing a tour? Because listen, I financially am not in the position for a tour right now. So I'm hoping it's the album. I'm hoping it's the album. And if it's the album, that's great. She's going to have a lot of material to do her actual tour. And really, she just did this big old performance. So I am of the mind that it's an album, not the tour. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. I'm of the mind it's the album and not the tour. Another one of my favorite, I think this is my top favorite moment. And I have a lot of moments that I really liked in this performance. But the Blackbird song with the four ladies, with Tanner Adell, Brittany Spencer, Tierra Kennedy, and Reyna Roberts. These are four Black women of various melanated shades that are working on making their way. I mean, they've been in the country industry. They've been. I think Tanner Adell is the one that's sings Buckle Bunny, and that's such a fun song if you haven't had the chance to listen to it. So, but first of all, I love that song, the meaning behind it, but that last note, that last harmony that they pulled together before she walked out to the stadium and they were standing there in the light and the that is definitely my favorite part. Okay. And again, there was so much intentionality in that performance, bringing them out. The beginning, when she is walking, and there's that like picturesque scene with, I think it was, it looked like, I don't want to assume, but it looked like there was Mexican and Black people that uh, uh, that was standing on the horses. And from what I have looked up, the horses were lippin something, but they're the ones that are um, start off black or brown, and then they end up being white. Subliminal, not so subliminal messages about the genre itself. We're gonna rest that there, but it was that. So that was a homage to um, the black cowboy rodeos. And there's a movie that I've been meaning to watch. It's a documentary. Um, is it a documentary? No, 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 no. It's a movie. It's on Netflix based off black cowboys that I have been meaning to watch, and I don't know why I haven't watched it yet. But that'll kind of give you some insight. But it's a homage to that historical piece of um, black and Mexican cowboys, and you know how that actually all started. Uh, but so like just elegantly done, just beautiful. Um, the other like that was a little surprise was Ashley Everett, who was her former dance captain, who's back as her former dance, who's back as her dance captain. They had a little falling out. They had a little situation. There was a little drama, and she was missing. Like she was not present for Renaissance. There was a little situation, a little. Maybe she was. I think there was a lawsuit involved. Like it was, but she's back. She was here. She was performing. She was next to Blue Ivy most of the time, and um, a lot of people were happy to see her back. Um, I guess honestly, I never noticed because I like me some Beyonce, but I am not a card carrying member of the Beehive. Like, um, I, maybe my membership application is under review, but I most likely be rejected. This comment, case in point of my rejection. So I'm like Beehive adjacent because I feel like the stands, the Beehive, like they know details and they know a lot, you know. So they were really excited about this Ashley person. But I was happy to see her back because it takes a lot to if you had a falling out and you were able to reconcile. So and she looked happy and excited, and you know so that's good. I was excited. It wasn't a moment for me. It's just something I wanted to mention. But you know what was a moment? First of all, Beyonce used the entire stadium. The entire stadium, okay? And in one scene, the right there, she had that beautiful melanated, highly melanated, plus size beauty dancing her butt off. And I was tired. I was exhausted. And that was just a moment because she was doing her thing. And typically, typically plus size women are not um featured in performances like that. Like, let's just be so for real. We're not gonna beat around the bush. As a matter of fact, I think it was the second season of So You Think You Can Dance, which let me tell you something. The way a girl used to watch So You Think You Can Dance, season one, two, three, probably up to four. But I listen. And there was, and I don't remember her name, but I think it was season two. There was a big girl on there. And I say that because she was the only one at the time. And that was a thing. That was like a big topic. That was a thing. But you see it more. You saw it with the Baychella, where she was featuring more plus size. I think Lizzo also kind of helped normalizing, more plus size dancers and things like that. So that was a vibe. That was a moment that I really enjoyed myself. Um, this wasn't a moment. This next thing wasn't a moment. It was just interesting because again, I really personally feel like um, she was like sticking her middle finger up at the powers that be, the CMA people, the supremacists, the racists, what have you. Especially when she was like, they had the sign that it was my house, like that whole part. I'm telling you, everything was done purposefully, and it was just wonderful. I didn't see this. I didn't see this. Uh, I saw some. I saw some, but I didn't. Let me rephrase. I saw a glimpse, but I did not like go down that racist rabbit hole. But in some of the comments, there was a lot of haters. In some of, like, especially I think on some of the ESPN boards, or there was a lot of haters. First of all, my algorithm on most platforms, my algorithm is good to me. I don't be seeing that stuff. But sometimes it sneaks in a little bit. And it's just a shame. Like it's just a shame. Um, and I'm not even talking about the people like that don't like her, but the unnecessary. You can tell when a comment is based off of you don't like her for a particular reason. You know what I'm saying? The other thing, she also featured the first Black rodeo queen that actually won the competition, uh, Jadea Kursh. I hope I said the name right. Um, and that was just it was just all of those little things, that was just chef's kiss. First of all, I love the album, so the whole thing was enjoyable for me. It's funny because I was listening to I I listen to Tidal. I do not do Spotify. Most of my things are on Tidal. So I was listening to my 2024 most played, and I actually hadn't listened to the album in a while. And that was on my 2024 most played. And I was like, oh, I need to listen to the album again because I'm reminded why I listened to why all these songs made it on my 2024 most played list. So thoroughly enjoyed the music, the performance, just and there's just so many more nuggets that I'm not gonna go into. Why? Because I want to touch on um, why I'm even doing this podcast at this point in time. Because baby, it was the farthest thing from my mind, and that would be inspiration. Um, Sometimes inspiration can galvanize you and push you to do things, right? To get off your booty and do things, especially if you're a creative person. Like one thing I definitely appreciate, y'all already know how much I love the arts, music, books, visual art, television, paint, whatever. I think it's a societal importance. It is creativity is, like they say, cleanliness is next to godliness. Creativity is that, not next to it, but it is that. So I believe it's an important, you should incorporate it in your stress management activities. It's it's just a, honestly, it's a vital part of life. And I do get inspired by beautiful creative displays. So I it got me off my butt to do this, to actually, publish a show and kind of talk about how in awe and how much I enjoyed her performance. But there, I did look up an article. There were several articles. I'll probably link them for you, but the one that I wanted to go over, um, it's from a while ago. It's from what year? 2011, actually. But there are some aspects. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but there are some aspects that I really thought are important to go over. And this one is, who is it by? This one's by, it's called Why Inspiration Matters. I will put the link, but if you just do like a Google search, it'll be like one of the first articles that come up. It's by Scott Barry Kaufman. Again, it was published in 2011 from the Harvard Business Review. Starts off with a quote: "When your demon is in charge, do not try to think consciously. Drift, wait, and obey." I don't even know what that means. I don't know why I read that. Okay. Um, so this, again, this was written in 2011. I'm just gonna kind of, again, I'm not gonna read everything, but there's some interesting aspects. So it starts off: in a culture obsessed with measuring talent and ability, we often overlook the important role of inspiration. Inspiration awakens us to new possibilities by allowing us to transcend our ordinary experiences and limitations. Inspiration propels a person from apathy to possibility and transforms the way we perceive our own capabilities. Inspiration may sometimes be overlooked because of its elusive nature. Its history of being treated as supernatural or divine hasn't helped the situation. But as recent research shows, inspiration can be activated, captured, and manipulated, and it has a major effect on important life outcomes. And this is inspiration propels a person from apathy to possibility. That right there, my friends, that alone, that right there is should be like your thing to get inspired. Because what what's more? What's more? And I, from experience, 100% um agree. It does that for me. I mean, like I said, it did that for me right now. Like, I am up and doing a thing that I had no intention of doing. Why? Because I was inspired. Inspiration has three main qualities. I'm hopping back into the article. Psychologists Todd M. Thrash and Andrew J. Elliott have noted these core aspects of inspiration: evocation, transcendence, and approach motivation. First, inspiration is evoked spontaneously without intention. Inspiration is also transcendent of our more animalistic and self-serving concerns and limitations. Such transcendence often involves a moment of clarity and awareness of new possibilities. So I'm gonna pause right there, right? Um, and like, so the first part, inspiration is evoked spontaneously without intention. Facts, because sometimes you don't necessarily know. I mean, I know the arts can inspire me, but I engage in the arts all the time. And but sometimes there'll be a thing like a book that I read that is so good that it inspires me to be like to do something, or maybe so bad. You be like, what? I could do this. Um, but more talking about the awe evoking side of it. Because I don't always know how things are going to move me. I mean, I watch performances all the time, but then this moves me to do something. So totally. And then that second part, such transcendence often involves a moment of clarity and awareness of new possibilities. Like that's it. No, nothing. There's nothing else that needs to be said. Like it's like a light bulb. A light bulb goes off, and you're just like, like now a whole new array of options and possibilities is now illuminated to you. As Thrash and Elliot note, the heights of human I'm back, hopping back. As Thrash and Elliot note, the height of human motivation spring from the beauty and goodness that precedes us and awaken us to better possibilities. This moment of clarity is often vivid and can take the form of a grand vision or a seeing of something one has not seen before, but that was probably always there. Finally, inspiration involves approach motivation, in which the individual strives to transmit, express, or actualize a new idea or vision. I'm going to pause because that just makes me so excited. I'm geeking. Okay. Just relax. Just relax, Wanda. I am, but that's exciting. Like, and just, ooh, I'm just going to read it again. Um, Finally, inspiration involves approach motivation, in which the individual strives to transmit, express, or actualize a new idea or vision. Pause. So that illumination, that idea, that thing that you now see or that you now understand, that clarity, whatever. Now you're just like, oh, how can I do something with this? How can I harness it? How can I like what can I do with it? And hopefully you have a vehicle or avenue to express those. Of course, mine is writing, yapping. um, Somebody else, it could be painting. um, who knows? But that approach motivation, hopping back in, according to Thrash and Elliot, inspiration involves both being inspired by something and acting on that inspiration. Oh, you hear me? You hear me? So it's not enough to be like, oh, that's awesome. That's great. But acting on that inspiration. So get inspired. Find something that inspires you. Find something that moves you, um, or be engaged in things that you know you're just like, wow. Because me, I mean, I like to write. Uh, I think I love to read more than I like to write, and I am in awe of the creative space. I'm in awe of what these people can put together. And I don't always get inspired. I enjoy, I engage. So engaging in things you like, engaging in maybe things that you find inspiring. And if you don't know what that is, maybe you could start journaling about it to figure it out. Um, I have to find there is a book or there is something out there that talks about the power of being in awe. And I kind of wanted to write an article about that, but it's kind of like the same because things that you are in awe about help you get um, inspired. The article goes on to say, and I don't know, am I going to read this whole? Am I going to go? Oh, is it? It's not that long. Hmm. Okay, the next part is inspired people share certain characteristics. Ooh, I think this is important. So maybe I will. We maybe I will. Inspired people share certain characteristics. Thrash and Elliott developed the inspiration scale. Ooh, which measures the frequency with which a person experiences inspiration in their daily lives. They found that inspired people were more open to new experiences and reported more absorption in their task. Openness to experiences often came before inspiration, suggesting that those who are more open to inspiration are more likely to experience it. Pause. Facts. You know what that's like? Like sometimes you'll meet people that are not open to new ideas. They're not open to constructive criticism. They think they are right all the time. They're not open to being wrong. It's really hard to I imagine that it's really hard to inspire those people. Because how you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? Right? How are you going to grow? And being inspired and acting out is a growth journey. It is taking you as an individual on a path to grow, to learn, to be better. And if you're already closed off, my friend, how are you going to do that? Hmm, hmm. Okay, we're going to start again. Not completely again, but we're going to hop back into the article. So, again, openness to experience often came before inspiration, suggesting that those who are more open to inspiration are more likely to experience it. Additionally, inspired individuals weren't more conscientious, supporting the view that inspiration is something that happens to you and is not willed. Inspired individuals also reported having a stronger drive to master their work, but were less competitive, which makes sense if you think of competition as a non transcendent desire to outperform competitors. Inspired people were more intrinsically motivated and less extrinsically motivated, variables that also strongly impact work performance. So, like, what does that mean exactly? The inspired people were more intrinsically motivated. So that just means that they more, it was more of an internal thing, as it was like personal growth, or I want to do this for me, or as opposed to getting accolades or getting praise from external sources, like source, not sauce, source. I can't speak today, right? Like so it's more like, oh, I want to do this. Like, for example, the reason why I went back to school, it was an internal drive that kind of made me do that. So I think it kind of goes more to that openness. And when I think about external, I think about like people who are doing things just for the perceived status, or just for the money, or just for the whatever. And don't get me wrong, like two things can align, right? um like my motivation, my internal motivation, yeah, I want to make some money too, but that's not necessarily what drives the person, which kind of makes sense, I think. Inspiration was least related to variables that involved agency or enhancement of resources, again, demonstrating the transcendent nature of inspiration. Therefore, what makes an object inspiring is its perceived subjective intrinsic value, and not how much it's objectively worth or how attainable it is. Again, so it's like my internal drive versus the reward I would get. Inspired people also reported higher levels of important psychological resources, including belief in their own abilities, self-esteem, and optimism. Pause. So again, this goes in line with um, your intrinsic values. Mastery of work, absorption, creativity, uh, perceived competence, self esteem, and optimism were all consequences of inspiration, suggesting that inspiration facilitates these important psychological resources. Interestingly, work mastery also came before inspiration, suggesting that inspiration is not purely passive but does favor the prepared mind. Inspiration is not the same as positive effect. Compared to the normal experience of everyday life, inspiration involves elevated levels of positive effect and task involvement, and lower levels of negative effect. Inspiration is not the same state as positive effect, however. Compared to being in an enthusiastic and excited state, people who enter an inspired state by thinking of a prior moment they were inspired report greater levels of spirituality and meaning and lower levels of volitional control, controllability, and self responsibility for their inspirations. Whereas positive affect is activated when someone is making progress towards their immediate conscious goals. Inspiration is more related to an awakening to something new, better, or more important, transcendence of one's previous concerns. So again, it's a lot of words to say. Inspiration is spontaneous, and inspiration is like, again, that light bulb going off, right? It's not necessarily like this planned thing, and it's not that feeling that you get when you've accomplished something, because that's not inspiration, that's planning, and that's very regimented. So that's what that means. A lot of complicated words to say that. Inspiration is the springboard for creativity. Inspired people view themselves as more creative and show actual increase in self ratings of creativity over time. Pause. I believe that because uh, in order for you, like you have to be in a space to create and to receive and to, yeah, I that resonates with me because I guess I think I'm a creative person. I am calling myself a creative person. So, patent holding inventors report being inspired more frequently and intensely than non patent holders. And the higher the frequency of inspiration, the higher the numbers of patents held. Being in a state of inspiration also predicts the creativity of writing samples across scientific writing, poetry, and fiction. As judged by a panel of fellow students, independent of SAT verbal scores, openness to experience, positive effect, specific behaviors, and aspects of the product quality. Inspired writers are more efficient and productive and spend less time pausing and more time writing. The link between inspiration and creativity is consistent with the transcendent aspect of inspiration, since creativity involves seeing possibility beyond existing constraints. Importantly, inspiration and effort predict different aspects of activity. Individuals who exert more effort writing spend more of their time pausing, deleted more words, wrote more sentences per paragraph, and had better technical merit and use of rhyming in poems, but their work was not considered more creative. Okay, some other areas of the article. Inspiration facilitates progress towards goals. In a recent study conducted by Marina Milyavskaya, I think I did that pretty good, and her colleagues, college students were asked to report 3 goals they intended to accomplish throughout the course of this semester. They then reported their progress 3 times a month. Those who scored higher on the inspiration scale displayed increased goal progress, and their progress was a result of setting more inspired goals. Therefore, people who were generally more inspired in their daily lives also tend to set inspired goals, which were then more likely to be successfully attained. Importantly, the relationship between inspiration and goal progress was reciprocal. Goal progress also predicted future goal inspiration. As research notes, this suggests that goal progress and goal inspiration build on each other to form a cycle of greater goal inspiration and greater goal pursuit. Finally, inspired individuals reported experiencing more purpose in life and more gratitude. Oh, this is my favorite part. Inspiration increases well being. In another study, those who were exposed to Michael Jordan's greatest experience, oh, I just read that wrong. Those who were exposed to Michael Jordan's greatness experienced higher levels of positive effect. Really? Ah. And this increase in positive effect was completely explained by their score on the inspiration scale. This inspiration was not transitory, though, predicting positive well being, for example, positive effect, life satisfaction, 3 months later. Inspiration was more strongly related to future than present satisfaction. The extent to which inspiration lasted was explained by self report level of purpose and gratitude in life. These findings show that inspiration matters a lot, which may cause someone to feel pressure to become inspired and helpless to do so, considering the evocation and spontaneous nature of inspiration. This is like one of those things where it's a double-edged sword, because you'd be like, well, I want to get inspired, but you can't force yourself to get inspired. But I think it's interesting, kind of going back to that people who were exposed to Michael Jordan's greatness experience higher levels of positive effect. So this is like what I'm saying, what I was saying before. Even though you can't force inspiration, if you work on exposing yourself to things that you marvel at, it may create more opportunities for you to get inspired, even though you can't force inspiration. I hope that kind of sort of makes sense. The writer Elizabeth Gilbert rightly expressed this concern in her inspiring TED Talk, The Irony. I agree with Gilbert that one should not put pressure on oneself to become inspired. These key scientific findings suggest that inspiration is not willed, it happens. Knowing this should free you from the pressure to make inspiration happen. So you can get inspired and work on creating conditions to get inspired, as opposed to making inspiration happen. Like, you can't force inspiration, but you can create an environment where, oh, it might happen. Hopping back in, this does not mean that inspiration is completely outside of your control. Contrary to the view of inspiration as purely mythical or divine, I think inspiration is best thought of as a surprising interaction between your current knowledge and the information you receive from the world. There are things you can do to increase the likelihood of inspiration occurring. Research shows quite clearly that preparation, Work mastery is a key ingredient. We're going to repeat that. Research shows quite clearly that preparation, work mastery, is a key ingredient. While inspiration is not the same as effort, effort is an essential condition for inspiration. Preparing the mind for an inspirational experience, openness to experience, and positive effects are also important, as having an open mind and approach oriented attitude will make it more likely that you will be aware of the inspiration once it arrives. Small accomplishments are also important as they boost inspiration, setting off a productive and creative cycle. So, again, you can create the landscape for inspiration to thrive and for you to be like, light bulb, and to recognize it and to harness it and to deal with it. You can create that environment. Another incredible, important, and often overlooked trigger of inspiration is exposure to inspiring managers. Oh, okay. So this is specifically talking about like in the workplace or just really not necessarily only in the workplace, but people. What kind of people are you exposing yourself to? Like, if you are, okay, so there are a couple of people that I reach out and I talk to them, and whenever we talk to each other, we just like, yeah, we're gonna go do this because I inspire them, they inspire me. We have dreams, we have ideas, we have conversations about things that we want to do, and we inspire each other, as opposed to other people who they're negative. They're not only negative, but they just chilling. They're not having those types of conversation. But the negative ones, ooh, child, no, 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 no. So yeah. So another incredibly important and often overlooked trigger of inspiration is exposure to inspiring managers, role models, and heroes. As Gregory Dess and Joseph Pickens note in Changing Roles Leadership in the 21st Century, our competitive global economy requires leaders to shift their focus from efficient management to effective utilization of a company's diversity of resources. They argue for 5 key roles of leadership: using strategic vision to motivate and inspire, empowering employees at all levels; 3, accumulating and sharing internal knowledge; 4, gathering and integrating external information; 5, challenging the status quo and enabling creativity. So, again, this goes back to creating that space, right? It's kind of like if you're cultivating a garden, like creating that landscape that allows the people around you to feel comfortable to express their thoughts, share their feelings, um, and which then allows the landscape for inspiration to happen. Steve Jobs is the quintessential example of an inspiring manager, and he undoubtedly checked each of the boxes in spades. To become personally inspired, the best you can do is set up the optimal circumstances for inspiration. As a society, the best we can do is assist in setting up these important circumstances for everybody. An easy first step is simply recognizing the sheer potency of inspiration and its potential impact on everything that we do. And honestly, um, really recognizing or trying to figure out like what, I'm not gonna say what inspires you, but what are you like impressed by? Like kind of figuring that and exposing yourself to that. And again, the people that like get your juices flowing and all that, which kind of ties back to um, why I even did this after, why I even recorded this podcast, recorded this show, because again, I've been in a little situation, been in some pain, and if you deal with pain, it it makes you not want to do a thing except try to feel better and figure out how to feel. It takes up your energy. It takes up your energy. It takes up your mental. But I was inspired. I was inspired by the arts, which I'm always inspired by the arts. Um, and sometimes even that, like, you don't engage like you normally could. So I'm going to go back to the basics when I'm talking about stress management, right? Talking about managing your resources and things like that. And something that often happens to us when we got things going on, we shift priorities, and we shift priorities and we put things on the back burner, and we don't engage with things that we normally would get engaged in, that would normally make us feel better, or that would normally inspire us, or that would normally put us in a happy place. um, we forget to do that. So bottom line, we forget to take care of ourselves, and that is kind of throws us in a cycle of stress, which can lead to chronic stress, which blah blah blah. You guys know the drill, right? So I won't say make yourself be inspired, but um, work on creating space to allow inspiration to happen. If you like what you hear, please share, please like, please subscribe. A Drop of Happy is the podcast arm to lightv.com, LITEVI.com, at lightv on all social media, and A Drop of Happy on all streaming platforms. So please share. Remember to live light and stress well.